Hello everybody, welcome back to yet another installment of Life Stories. My name is Trent, and I hope you're all doing awesome as always. Today, as you may have expected, we got some more stories coming at you from Reddit/idontworkherelady. So, without further ado, let's get started. Our first story is titled, I'm Too Young to Work, but Who Cares? Hello, this is my first post here, so I don't know if it fits. I'm a 14-year-old female, and as you can tell, I am too young to work. But, do I look older, you may ask? No, I have a baby face, and I'm very, very short. This story takes place at night, around 8 p.m. My mother went out for dinner with her friends, and I was going to stay with my dad at home, but he got a call from his boss. He sometimes works as a substitute teacher when needed, and he told me he had to go. I said okay, but he was very worried to leave me alone at home, and asked his boss if I could come. His boss said I could. I took my book and stayed at the teacher's room with the other teachers. Everything was going fine until one of the teachers next to me got a call. A mom wanted to talk to her. The teacher didn't even have the time to answer, and this lady stormed in the room. She threw her bag and her coat at me, and I stared at her, confused. She noticed it. "What are you looking at?" she said. "Why did you throw these?" I responded. "This is your freaking job. Don't complain." "What? I don't work here." "Of course you do. What else would you be doing here?" She cuts me off. "You do work here. You're probably a school dropout. Don't talk to me, you lazy trash." I started to cry, and the other teachers came to help me. I dropped her coat, and this lady freaked out. "Look at what you did, you..." She then proceeded to call me a racial slur, even though we were both white. After 2 minutes of her cursing at me, the security came and forcibly removed her. I asked the teachers if we could just forget that, and nobody ever told my dad. Thanks for reading. I apologize for any grammar mistakes. Geez, at that rate you should have dropped the lady's coat and then spat on it. What a jerk. I'd hate to see how she treats her own kids. Anyways, moving along to our next story, it's titled, How We Finally Changed Our Home Phone Number. So, this was going on for a couple years in the late 90s/early 2000s, when yellow pages and landlines were still a thing. There's a community pool near the apartment building where me and my family used to live at the time. Since landline numbers were very similar for people/businesses in the same location, ours was similar to the community pool's. The only difference being our home number ends in 393 and theirs in 939. Now, you'd expect a person messes up these two once in a while, but after multiple calls a day started, we bought the current Yellow Pages edition and found out they actually printed our home number as the number of the community pool. This was corrected in later editions. As you can expect, this led to multiple calls a day asking us about our working hours, etc. Usually you tell people it's a private number, the mistake is in the Yellow Pages, and they apologize and never call again. Some people would try multiple calls, like calling multiple times will magically transfer the call to the right people. But you finally tell them to buzz off already, and they do. There was this one dude that I remember to this day, though. I answered the phone. I don't know the exact year, but I can't have been more than 10 or 11 years old. So a little girl me answers the phone. Obviously the dialogue will not be word for word because this happened like 20 years ago. It goes as follows. "Hello?" "Hello? What hours are you open?" Sorry, this is a private home number." "Okay, sorry. Bye." The phone rings again. "Hello?" "Yeah, hello? What hours are you open today?" "Sir, wrong number again. This happens all the time. Someone printed the wrong number." "Who are you?" "This is a family home." Click. A little while later, the phone rings again. "Hello?" "Yeah, can I talk to anyone else?" So I go and get my mum and stay next to her to listen. Hello? "What hours are you open today?" My mum proceeds to explain the situation, since she didn't hear my previous conversations with this man. "But I got this number from the Yellow Pages." "Well, they got it wrong." "Someone's messing with me. I made sure to check the number I'm dialing multiple times." "You dialed the right number. It's just not the number you're looking for." "So what's their number if this is yours?" "I don't know. We didn't at the time. We only assumed they would be similar." The man then proceeded to complain about how the kids shouldn't be answering the phone because he didn't call to talk to dumb kids, but to find out when the pool is open. "Sir, we don't have a pool." Fast forward to tomorrow. The phone rings again. The voice on the other end is a woman this time. Hello, until when are you open today? This is a private home, blah blah blah. I told her the same thing. The woman, her voice now muffled, obviously covering the mic with her hand or something. Yeah, George, it's the kid. The man, who is the same one from before, yelling from a distance, asked them if they happen to know when the so-and-so pool is open, if they live nearby. Do you happen to know when the pool is open? The woman asked. For frick's sake! I didn't really swear back then, so this was a big deal. Wow, you shouldn't talk to older people like that. Is that how your parents raised you? Lady, please don't call anymore. I have to do my homework. Click. The day after, we finally changed our home number. F you, Yellow Pages. Man, I just don't get the rationale of just repeatedly calling the same number. If they tell you it's not the right one the first time, it's probably not the right one. Why is it so difficult? Anyways, let's move along to our next story of the day, titled, Okay, to be fair, this one was partially my fault. So, I don't know why, but no matter what happens or where I go, it seems inevitable for me to be mistaken as an employee. However, this was partially my fault. I was offered to visit a very special and beautiful estate in the US for an incredible price. Now, tickets to tour the estate are usually quite expensive, so, of course, I leapt at the chance. So the day came, and I had been suggested to wear one of my work suits to the estate. They told me that I wouldn't regret it once I looked back at the photos. So I took their advice, cleaned my suit, and got dressed when the day came. I went in and began looking around, reading everything and enjoying every detail. The outfits from Titanic were on display. I just loved every bit of what was placed in building this. So, after a while, I stepped out and decided to get something to eat. Sweet Tooth told me to go to the bakery attached to the place. I ordered a red velvet cupcake, and then the employee looks at me and asks something I wasn't expecting. What's your employee number? I blinked and then realized something. The employees, the ones in the estate, were wearing suits, and the exact same button-down I was wearing. Whoops. I explained politely that I didn't work there. I was just a visitor, but thank you anyway. I stepped to the side and wait for my cupcake, enjoying the smell as my stomach wants to whine at me. An old woman bursts towards me, looking confused. Listen, I know you're on your break, but I really need help. Can you direct me to where I need to go? I felt bad, but I just told her, I'm sorry, but I don't work here, ma'am. It's actually my first visit. She thankfully just looked embarrassed, apologized, and walked out. But why not ask the employees at the bakery? There's a better chance they'll know or know someone who knows. Maybe she was too embarrassed to stick around the girl she mistook. But still, twice in rapid-fire succession for being mistaken as an employee. Thankfully, it didn't seem to happen again. Some odd looks from people here and there, but that was probably them piecing together someone just happened to wear the uniform to look around by mistake. A mistake I will not make again. Man, this just kind of makes me want to go on a vacation. I love the idea of exploring old estates and historical sites and going on tours and stuff like that. There's one in Ontario where they filmed the X-Men movies. Oh, I'd love to see it. Moving along, our next story is titled, Being Helpful Leads to a Job Offer. I'm rather new to Reddit, but have been enjoying these stories for a very long time on YouTube. I have quite a few of these stories, though luckily, none turned violent. This story is my favorite by far. I was working retail that day, but like many other stories, was on my break. Now, we really did not have a uniform at the time, other than dark pants and a nice top of any color. I do believe that my name tag was on, and I really can't remember if my store's logo was on there or not. I enjoyed roaming the mall on my breaks to do a little window shopping and pick up something hot to drink. My drink of choice is tea. I love all kinds and could probably run a tea house with my stash for a month. They had opened up this new store called Teavana. I had never heard of it before, but it was love at first sip. When I walked in, there were two people working. One was already in the back, and the other asked if it was okay if they stepped in the back to grab something while I was browsing. I of course said sure. I was more than occupied looking at the wall of tea. This woman walks in and was very overwhelmed. One of the women came back out and ended up occupied. I really can't remember if she was on the phone or with someone else. The one who was overwhelmed asked about one of the tea types, and since no one was paying her any attention, I began to educate her on all the different types: white, green, rooibos, oolong, and a few others. Finally, the other salesperson asked her how she could help, and the woman said, "Oh, I'm already being helped." I looked at her and said, "Oh no, I don't work here. I just really love tea." One of the two women turned out to be the manager and asked if I would like a job and that she had a supervisor and manager position open. I giggled and thanked her, telling her I already had too many jobs at the time, which was 3 jobs, but I would keep them in mind. Oh man, I also really love Tivana. I love just buying their cartons of hibiscus tea and then mixing it with lemonade. Oh, it's the absolute best on a hot day, you have no idea. And now that I'm exceptionally thirsty, I'm gonna have to call it for today's episode. I want to thank all of you so much for tuning into today's episode once again. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more Reddit content coming your way. My name is Trent, this is Life Stories, and I hope to see you guys soon.